Hey, Yetta, why don't we buy a new car?
Hold on.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
Welcome to another episode of Life's Inside Track. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And it's where we get to share thoughts, tips, tools, tactics, tips, and some truths. Truths that we all need, we all deserve. You, I, everyone, so we can turn our house into home, our families thrive, and we live the very best life possible. We're going to consider that God's will is not always a straight line. Well, I guess it never is. And so we're going to look at what are those things that can happen when we're not living in God's will, and how can we maybe figure out if we are or if we aren't?
Yeah, when we got into this topic, I thought, wow, we're going into the danger zone.
Oh, this is the danger zone. Danger.
I had it explained to me once, when you look at a tapestry and the beautiful picture on the front and the mess on the back where the threads are crossing over and they're tied in and whatever. And sometimes our life seems like it's the back, right? Where it's all tied together and messy. And sometimes we're in God's will even when we don't think maybe we are. What do you think of that?
It's true. Right? And so we're looking at what happens when we don't follow his will and we know we're not.
Right. Then
we're looking at chaos.
Yeah, that's when the back gets really messy.
Right. Well, and then, the front gets messy too somehow.
God can work all things to his glory, so he'll fix the front.
He'll work all things together for the good of those that love him is what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, that's great.
Yeah, so when we're not making a great decision or we're not in God's will, what I find is I get confused. I get maybe a little chaotic. Sometimes I'm a little wishy-washy. I'm not staying the course when I hit a little road bump.
Right. So I think what you're talking about is maybe there isn't integrity either.
Yeah.
When you slip out of God's will, right? Because sometimes I find when I know I'm not doing what I'm called to do, I can still be really certain. So I can't even, right?
Well, you can be certain in your wrongness, yes.
Yeah, I can be certain in my wrongness, right?
Yeah, I can.
And so when you said wishy-washy, I thought, well, that happens. And then other times, I don't know about you, but I know for both Ken and I, at times we are so super certain that the thing we want to do. And so one of the things that happens when I'm trying to prove to myself is I go get other people to come into agreement with me. Right?
Yeah, let me read a scripture about that. Because sometimes other people being in agreement with you is not really the judge, right? The right thing.
Not always.
So Romans 12:2. I got my glasses on because I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Stop imitating the ideals and opinions of the culture around you, but be inwardly transformed by the Holy Spirit through a total reformation of how you think. This will empower you to discern God's will as you live a beautiful life, satisfying and perfect in his eyes. Now that's in the
Passion Translation.
The Passion Translation, yeah.
And we often will go and read different translations. We've read it in the NIV, the English Standard, King James, New King James more than King James. You may find it helpful when you're trying to determine God's will or anything else for your life, for that matter, as you're reading scripture, to look at different translations to see if it illuminates something differently than it does in one you're used to. Because I find when I'm used to something, it says exactly what I've always thought it to say.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's ingrained. The pattern of that pattern of thinking is solid and certain. And yet, is it actually what it's saying? Or have I just made it, that's my interpretation? And when reading it in a different translation, I find sometimes the translation now gives me access to a pattern interrupt.
Right.
So I'm not stuck in my habit of seeing it the way I saw it.
And we're going to give some great ideas, right, for figuring out if you're in God's will in the next segments. And right now, one of the things that's difficult is the Bible doesn't necessarily talk about how many children I should have,
Right.
or where I should work, or who I should work for, or maybe where, like what city, what town, where I should live, right? Whether I should move to a different house. The Bible doesn't specifically speak to those decisions.
It doesn't. And if we go back to the very beginning of the show, when you said you were going to go buy a new car,
Mhm.
and I said, hold on, it doesn't necessarily say that either. When's the right time to buy a new car?
Well, the only thing it says is don't have too many chariots, I think it said.
Right. And you don't want to be in over your head in debt. So we know that if that car is going to take us out of the game and we can't tithe anymore,
Mhm.
or we can't give the way we want to give, the way we're called to give,
Mhm.
we can't support our family, we can't pay our bills, well, then we
Yeah.
know the car. I mean, sometimes this happens a lot actually around cars. It's happened in our own house, where we convince ourselves it's God's will because he wouldn't want us to be in an unsafe vehicle and, just start making it bigger than it really is.
For now. Yeah, for sure. So what things happen? Some negative things can happen when we're not in God's will. We don't count the cost of a wrong decision. Yeah. And what about where we're not content with where we're at, whether it's in the car or in the house? Is that a good reason to make a buying
generally
decision?
not, because what I've discovered, just for me myself, maybe you can't relate to this, but when I have bought something or made a move, I have never done never a house on this one, when I've been in not content, but cars and stuff we have. And then we end up not being content with the new thing very soon thereafter, even if it feels good in the moment. Kind of like it fulfills the desire and the need and the want, but it doesn't last.
Right. It's that selfish desire. And sometimes even I've found that the things that I buy actually become a negative in the future because I'm trying to maintain it. I got to store it. And, like they say, the best 2 days of a boater's life is the day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat. I think I lived that.
Well, and yet there were lots of years where we loved the boat.
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't sell it soon enough.
That.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a good thing for a season, but we didn't sell it soon enough. So what do you think is the key to avoiding that issue of making the wrong decision when the Bible's not specific?
Well, we're going to talk about that in the next episodes, and we're going to get down into some nitty gritty, and maybe we might not get them all done. And then you may want to call us and ask us for a copy of our decision-making process. That would be a wise decision. And then, I think a lot of our decisions come from a selfish nature. We have a selfish nature to keep ourselves protected, comfortable, right? In luxury or whatever. And so that, my friend, is not necessarily God's will.
Right. And when we lose peace, that's a clue.
Yeah, right.
Right?
And what are you currently considering that you could use God's wisdom on? We're honored to be positioning you to build wealth wisely because it's about much more than just money.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together.